Squirrel Tribe, really quick, I have a question for you because I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are on this. So I read this post that immediately pissed me off, but also made me kind of understand the other side for a second, and which pissed me off even more. But I want to read this to you, and I want your feedback on this. I'm going to give you my opinion, obviously, but listen to this. This said, I know requiring a drug test to get food stamps sounds great to some of you, but think about the child of a drug user who isn't going to eat this month because their parent has an addiction. Food for thought. All right, nope, cool, I fully understand that. Like, I read it and I thought to myself, this does make sense. Like, what about these kids who are going to be left high and dry because their parents are being taken off food stamps or SNAP or WIC or whatever, EBT, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is that they are getting that is allowing their parents to buy the food. And if these parents are no longer able to get that, what happens to the kids? Well, my very first thought, and I want to know how y'all feel about this, my very first thought is, if you are a parent and you are taken off of any of these helpful things because you happen to be a drug user, maybe you failed a drug test, if your state is doing drug tests before you can get paid and you fail it, shouldn't the state then step in and do something about you having those children in your home? Like, that's my thought process. But again, how often do we know what's actually going on within the walls of the homes of where these children live? You never know who is doing what in their homes. And I saw this article today about a high school and an elementary school in Pensacola, Gulf Breeze to be specific. And the assistant principal at one of these schools knows that her senior son, an 18-year-old, is being looked at for his involvement in having underage child stuff in his phone. And yet this assistant principal, who happens to be his mother, let him into elementary schools, 3 different ones, on senior day or whatever it's called, knowing good and damn well that her son is a disgusting piece of human shit. Like, basically that's what it comes down to. And she let this child in near these other little children, knowing what he is being looked at and investigated for. So the reason I tell you that one is because you never know what's going on in somebody's home. But when I hear this thing saying requiring a drug test to get food stamps sounds great to some of you, but blah, 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 it still sounds great to me. Maybe that's just me. It still sounds great to me. If you have to have a drug test in order to get food stamps or SNAP or WIC or anything else, and you fail said drug test, I fully believe that something should be done about either removing the children from your home or... No, I don't know what or would be, but at the same time, this is such a hard conversation to have because we know that just because a child is removed from a home doesn't mean they're going to be put in a safer place. There was a story just a couple days ago of a CPS, Child Protective Services worker, who had a child in the back of her car that she was moving from point A to point B, and she left the child in the car, and this child died from the heat. And she was supposed to be somebody who was saving this child from whatever home situation he was in and moving him to a better situation. And instead, this child has lost his life. So what is the answer? Like, what is the answer when it comes to stuff like this? When you have to have a drug test to figure out if you're on drugs or not, and if you are, you lose your benefits, but then what happens to the child? This is one of those conversations where, is there ever a 100% good answer, or is every single answer going to be kind of crappy because it involves either a child losing its parents or a child staying with parents that obviously care more about themselves and their drugs than their child? I want to know your thoughts on this, because this is the kind of conversation I have in my head all day long, and with my friends and family around me. These are the conversations we have. And I thought to myself, bring this conversation to the tribe, because I'm sure a lot of y'all have either had instances where you've gone through something like this, or you have very strong opinions on this. You know somebody who is in this kind of situation. So I want to have this conversation with y'all. I want to know your thoughts and opinions. What is the right answer here? How do you protect children? How do you not destroy a home, but how do you stop helping somebody who is using their money and their resources to buy drugs instead of food, and therefore needs government assistance to buy food for their kids? And who knows if those kids are even getting the food when they're using SNAP and WIC and EBT and all this stuff anyway? Like, These are the conversations that keep me up at night. I love y'all, and I want your thoughts and opinions. Please leave them below. Thank you so much. Goodbye.